You know, they're all sitting on a planet that looks like Uranus 2. I call it Uranus 2 because it looks pretty shitty. And oh, this is gonna be a doozy. I just watched Alien Romulus. Where to begin, that's the question. Well, as always, being lazy, Scottish and grumpy, I'm going to begin at the beginning with a poorly written synopsis by AI. Alien Romulus is the 7th installment in the Alien franchise, directed by Fede Alvarez. The film is set between the events of Alien 79 and Aliens 86, the two only other Alien movies, in my view. It follows a group of young space colonists who encounter xenomorphs while scavenging an abandoned space station. The story centres on Rain. What kind of name is Rain? You'd expect her to be Scottish with a name like that. A young woman working on a mining colony and her synthetic companion. Oh aye, Andy. Oh, more about Andy later. They join a group led by Tyler, who has a suitably over-the-top English accent, and although he is English, he sounds like he's from somewhere like the corniest part of England. And I don't mean Cornwall, land of tin and pasties. At least it's got something going for it. Where he comes from, I do not know. And, you know, they're all sitting on a planet that looks like Uranus 2. I call it Uranus 2 because it looks pretty shitty. And why? Why then? If these people are in the arsehole of the galaxy, have they all got suitably stupid accents? That's just a minor beef because this film's full of fucking holes. In fact, some of these holes are that big that we could make a rabbit hole episode about it. Anyway, they join a group led by Tyler to explore the derelict space station Romulus. Well, that's not right, is it? Because the derelict space station's called Renaissance. Romulus is a module on it. So's Remus. Oh, hold on. Could there be a possible sequel? Well, maybe not. Hoping to find functioning cryonic chambers. However, they soon face deadly xenomorphs and must fight for survival. The film has received positive reviews for its intense setting and return to the franchise's horror roots. Yeah, we'll talk about the horror in it. Okay, other than the movie, the only thing I've watched is the trailer. I've never watched any reviews about it because I want to go into this cold. And I'm coming out fucking freezing. Because instead of flamethrowers in this, they use cryonic guns. So they're trying to cool everybody down. But it's a far from cool movie. Oh, I better get on with it. There will be spoilers in this, I can't avoid it. So to bring us up to speed with how the Alien timeline runs out, because I wasn't quite sure myself, and if I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure you aren't sure. That's a lot of sures. Anyway, number one would be if you want to watch them in order, if you've been living in a box and haven't seen any of the Alien movies, then maybe you want to rewatch them or watch them in order. And if you want to start with Prometheus, that's set in 2093. That's not far away. We're going to have to go some to upper technology to get to that level. Then you would watch Alien Covenant. That's set in 2104. Or you could not bother watching them at all because they're shite as well. And you could go straight to number 3, which is Alien 1979. That is the original, set in 2122 when the Nostromo starts it all off. Then this film is set, Alien Romulus, shortly after the events of Alien, because there is a cameo in this by the Nostromo itself, or bits of it. And then we have the best Alien movie ever, in my view, and in yours if you've got any sense. Aliens, set in 2117, when Ripley goes back to the planet LV-426 with a group of colonial marines. Then we get Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. Alien Resurrection set 200 years after Alien 3. I wouldn't bother with Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection. You only need to watch Aliens and Alien, not necessarily in that order. Anyway, so the movie starts off with a suitably found we found something type bit, which is always the creepy beginning that you know is going to erupt into some kind of complete and utter horrific nonsense, much like the beginning of The Thing, which is an altogether better movie than this completely in every possible way. We'll maybe review that at some point in the future. Now the movie then starts, and initially I thought, are we having an advert for Elon Musk's cobalt mining operation on the planet Uranus 2? Because it was half an hour of nothing happening. And when I say nothing happening, this would have been the opportunity for maybe to build some kind of sense of who these people are. But instead we get the Scooby Gang playing jokes on one another, and they all turn out to be thoroughly unlikable characters. There are no redeeming features in these people, and that doesn't bode well for a movie, because if you don't have any empathy for the characters, you're not really going to be crying tears when they die, because people do in horror movies. So I had a lot of questions at this point. One, how did the Scooby Gang here manage to get the resources to have their own spaceship to leave this mining planet? Two, the main character is an entitled little brat. Where does she get the resources to have her own personal, and I'll say this, mentally deficient robot, or as they like to call themselves, synthetic persons? Even the fucking fridge takes offence these days. I'm sorry, but a tool's a tool, and I'm not going to give it the time of day. It either obeys a command or it doesn't. So anyway, they've got their own spaceship, but they don't have enough cryo fuel to get to where they want to go, which is like a 9-year hop away. So they want to go to sleep because they can't afford to waste 9 years of their life flying through mind-numbingly boring, desolate, empty space. The director still expects us to sit through 2 hours of this pish. There just happens to be a derelict space station in orbit above Uranus 2. And Uranus 2 has rings. It couldn't be better, could it? So the space station is heading towards the rings, which are obviously going to grind it up into tiny little pieces. There's a spoiler for you, but it hasn't happened yet. Now, this space station, the Renaissance, with the Romulus module on it, is part of Weyland-Yutani's. And Weyland-Yutani, if you remember, is the biggest corporation in the galaxy. And they have got a real hard-on for getting some kind of xenomorph ultimate weapon. So why have they just abandoned it? Why has a company with more resources than the Muskrat decided not to bother? I mean, they put everybody else in harm's way in all the other movies. So I can't understand why they wouldn't bother trying to recover their space station. But anyway, the Scooby Gang get in their piece of shit ship and go up to the space station and get in it. And then things maybe start to go a little bit wrong. At this point, it's as if somebody had a time machine and went back to 1979 and 1986 and grubbed around the cutting room floor and picked up all the bits of film, because those movies were shot on film, and then put them in a big bag and brought them back to 2024, where they took photos of them and assembled them into some sort of, I hesitate to call it a story. And this is another side rant. I'm going on a side rant here. When did we become incapable of writing and telling actual fucking stories? Isn't the whole point of movies to entertain you? But to entertain you in an entertaining way. Not have you sitting there going, what the fuck is this shite, and why is it destroying the previous lore of what were great movies? I mean, look at Godzilla -1. I don't like Godzilla. I see it came out there like it should be pronounced. But I don't like Godzilla. But I loved that movie because it told a story on so many levels. It was a joy to watch, and I couldn't understand a word because it was in Japanese. But I loved the movie, it was brilliant. Storytelling goes a long way to enjoyment, unless you're just some kind of ADHD infested young person who has the attention span of a gnat. Maybe you want to try and aspire to the attention span of a flea. You don't know what you're missing. So then we're subjected to a number of jump scares, and at one point it looks like you're wandering through Madame Tussauds London dungeon. The effects, to put it bluntly, are completely shite. Some of the effects are a bit disturbing though. There is a bit of a fascination with the lower part of female anatomy, with lots of things that look a bit like it. And when a guy puts his fingers in one and then the acid starts to eat his hand away, you've got to wonder, is this some kind of feminist trope? Don't touch. We have an attack by facehuggers, and you know, there's facehuggers coming out your ears here, and in some case somebody's throat. One of them gets deep-throated by a facehugger. Never a pleasant experience. And then we get the obvious eruption from the chest cavity. Not a nice way to go, but scenes we've all seen before. Nothing new. And then the facehuggers, it looked like people were pulling them towards the actors on strings. What the fuck? I mean, the previous movies, Alien and Aliens, the effects, most of them practicals, were absolutely brilliant. The aliens had a fluid grace, with that always present predatory menace as they emerged from the dark. They looked fantastic. These aliens don't. They just look a bit grubby. I just was really disappointed. I thought in today's age we'll get it better, but no, we probably got it cheaper and quicker. And if you know the triangle, you get cheap and fast. You don't get quality. This is not a quality movie. So no story, shite effects. What about the acting? Possibly some of the worst bunch of actors I've ever fucking seen. I'm going back in time here, but I once acted in a movie. No, I once acted on stage at school, and I actually think my performance was better than this pish. At least I got a laugh. These guys are just awful and unlikable. Oh, and halfway through the movie, the mentally challenged synthetic fridge gets an upgrade and becomes like a super intelligent synthetic fridge, and then starts acting all weird. It's always the AI, isn't it? The AI's always the problem, and it always has been in Alien, to be fair. The robots have always been a bit uppity and up themselves. And then Ian Holm appears, and you're like, hold on, Ian Holm's dead. Half of Ian Holm appears, because he's a synthetic as well, if you remember from the first movie. So he gets propped up on a desk and starts talking to everybody through what looks like Commodore 64s. I don't know how technology took a step back. But anyway, people are cracking up about Ian Holm being in it because Ian Holm is dead. So they've just taken his likeness and made it like a AI thing. And to be fair, that's probably the best effect in the movie, because it does look like Ian Holm. Well, probably not now, because he's probably lying in a coffin, or either that or he's a bunch of ash. So, in fact, if you'd put the actual Ian Holm in the movie, it might have been more horrifying than what we actually got. Yeah, I'll maybe edit that bit out. And after that, it's just chase, shoot. I mean, where did the Scooby Gang get any life experience? I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. Super intelligent fridge gives the English guy a gun, and he goes, oh, that's a blah 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 model used by the Colonial Marines, and then teaches the girl, Rain, how to use it, which is basically pull half the trigger, just like if you were taking a photo on a camera. Half the trigger locks the focus, and after that you can't miss. Yeah, well, she goes, where did you learn all this? And he's like, I learned it from magazines and games, doll. This is a movie for millennials. But the problem is, look, watching the movie, you can't suspend disbelief because there's too many things bring you out of it. It's just like, it stretches the boundaries of believability. Now, no, don't get me wrong. If you're in space and sci-fi and you're set in the future, you've got to suspend believability a little bit. But then don't give people, or don't Don't give us gritty acting that's not acting, that's pretty shite, and then stupid things like major corporations are desperate to get their hands on this xenomorph, just leaving their space station completely abandoned to fall into the rings of Uranus 2. It's just a complete and utter nonsense. And everything's the same. It's the same scenes. Facehugger does a girl in, girl has a chest eruption, another facehugger does another girl in, girl takes potion, you know, the black goo thing, girl lays an almond. It's just like freaking unbelievable. Side rant. Just some out of interest. How do these things grow so fast when they've no source of energy? It's like they break the laws of physics. You can't do that, Captain.
I can't change the laws of physics.
The final fight scene, the denouement, happens in a cargo bay. Oh, and best of all, Fridge, super intelligent Fridge, that's now been reverted back to pretty dumb Fridge, says the line. You know the one. He says the line.
Say the line, Bart!
Get away from her, you bitch!
That just sealed the deal for me. You want to go and see it? Have fun. If you can suspend disbelief, yeah, okay. The effects are shite. The aliens don't look good. The acting's appalling. There's no real story, and any story that is there doesn't make any kind of sense. It's just awful. I didn't like it at all. And I liked Alien. I loved Aliens. This is a poor attempt at trying to cash in on a series that should probably just be put on a pedestal and left the fuck alone, because all you're doing is making it worse. Don't watch it.
A Grumpy Scot with a pint in hand, ripping through films like a one-man band. Snarky cinema where the burns are hot, honest reviews you'll never forgot. Oh hey oh, hey, let the truth be told. No sugar here, it's biting and bold. With a smirk and a scowl and a hearty laugh, the Grumpy Scot is here to riff your craft. Sequels gone wrong, he'll tear them apart all video long. But if it's a gem, he'll tip his hat. Rare moments when praise comes from this cat. From cringe remakes to sequels gone wrong, he'll tear them apart all video long. But if it's a gem, he'll tip his hat. Rare moments when praise comes from this cat. Snark so sharp it'll cut through steel. Honesty that you can taste and feel. No fluff, no fuss, it's a Scottish creed. For brutal truth, the world does plead. Oh hey oh, hey, let the truth be told. No sugar here, it's biting and bold. With a smirk and a scowl and a hearty laugh, the Grumpy Scot is here to riff your craft. So grab your popcorn and duck for cover. It's cinema chats with a twist to discover. Snarky Scot with reviews that sting, a brutally honest movie rating king.